It's midnight and you're tuning in to Nightline with me, Natasha Busst. The top stories. Prime Minister confirms special parliamentary sitting on May 5th. And Tan Sri and Datuk Sri among 5 individuals remanded in connection with NBI Ponzi scheme. Good morning. A special sitting will be held in the Dewan Rakyat on May 5th to discuss the US's retaliatory tariff on Malaysia. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim confirmed this matter on Tuesday.
Ada. 5 bulan dah selesai. 5 bulan. Terima kasih.
He said this to the media at the Prime Minister's Department's Aidilfitri celebration in Putrajaya. It was earlier reported that the Prime Minister's office had released information regarding the matter. The purpose of the special sitting is to allow members of Parliament to debate the US tariff. Based on information from sources, MPs have yet to receive formal notification letters on the sitting. The US has set April 24th to hold a meeting with a Malaysian delegation to discuss the return tariffs imposed on Malaysia. US President Donald Trump on April 2nd announced that his country would introduce a blanket tariff of 10% and a higher duty on specific countries, including a tariff of 24% on Malaysia. He then announced a temporary suspension of import tariffs for 90 days on April 11th to allow trade negotiations. Malaysia has agreed to extend its visa exemption for Chinese travelers for another 5 years. Home Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said the policy has proven effective in driving economic growth through the tourism sector, with a significant increase in tourist arrivals from China.
Kita lanjutkan untuk 5 tahun ke depan dan sejurus tamat 5 tahun, optionnya adalah kita sambung lagi 5 tahun. Iaitu tempoh 90 hari keberadaannya, rakyat dia di negara kita sebagai pelancong, dan dia pun reciprocate, timbal balas yang sama juga kepada kita.
Saifuddin was speaking to reporters after attending the Home Ministry's monthly assembly in Putrajaya on Tuesday. The mutual visa exemption agreement for holders of public affairs and ordinary passports was among the 31 Memoranda of Understanding (MOUs) signed during the state visit by Chinese President Xi Jinping last week. This extension builds upon the government's Visa Liberation Initiative for travelers from China and India, which was implemented on December 1st, 2023, and granted visa-free entry to Malaysia for up to 30 days. As of April this year alone, Malaysia recorded nearly 900,000 tourist arrivals from China. Last year, the total number of arrivals from the country reached 4 million. In another development, Saifuddin revealed that his ministry has launched an investigation into a Singapore-based baby food company over a promotional video screened at a baby products expo in Kuala Lumpur, which featured an incomplete jalur gemilang. He said the probe is similar to the one previously carried out by the ministry involving the Sinchu daily newspaper.
Selepas kami mengambil tindakan ke atas Sinchu, maka publik juga mengangkat insiden yang sama. Mereka juga akan melalui proses yang sama daripada pihak KDN.
On Saturday, the baby food company issued an apology to all Malaysians for the unintentional error in its launch video, which showed the jalur gemilang without the crescent moon, prompting widespread public criticism. Standard operating procedures, SOPs, for safety at all healthcare facilities are being reviewed by the Health Ministry following an incident earlier this month in which an individual posed as an assistant medical officer at a hospital in Perlis. Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad on Tuesday said that the SOPs need to be tightened to prevent such incidents from recurring.
Apapun yang menjejaskan keselamatan pasien dan juga dari sudut integriti premis kami akan perhatikan dan ia dalam siasatan, dan saya mahukan perkara ini, we want to go to the bottom of this, kita nak lihat kepada keseluruhan perkara-perkara yang telah menjejaskan keselamatan.
Dr. Zulkifli said this to reporters at the Health Ministry's Hari Raya Aidilfitri celebration in Putrajaya, which Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim also attended. On Monday, the Perlis Health Department confirmed that a man impersonated an assistant medical officer at the Tuanku Fauzia Hospital on April 8th. The individual was dressed in full medical uniform and carried a medical equipment bag. He admitted to having purchased the uniform and medical tools through an online platform. The suspect is also said to have done so due to a deep personal interest in the profession. Two prominent men, one bearing the title Tan Sri and the other a Datuk Sri, are among 5 individuals remanded in connection with the MBI International Group investment scheme involving asset seizures worth 3.5 billion ringgit. Bukit Aman's anti-money laundering unit chief, Datuk Muhammad Hasbullah Ali, said the individuals had been remanded for 5 to 6 days to assist in the ongoing investigation into fraud. According to Muhammad Hasbullah, the arrests were made following intelligence gathered from the first phase of operations. His team launched the second phase of Ops Northern Star for 5 days from April 18th, targeting areas in the Klang Valley and the northern region. In total, approximately 3.5 billion ringgit worth of assets were frozen and seized, including durian orchards valued at an estimated 223 million ringgit across 3 locations: Raub in Pahang, Jawi in Pulau Pinang, and Tasik in Kedah.
Tan Sri dan juga Datuk Sri ini terlibat. Kita nampak dia ada keterlibatan, maklumat kita dan juga keterangan yang kita perolehi, dia terlibat secara langsung dengan sistem pelaburan MBI dia. Dia adalah sebagai boleh kata partner dan juga proxy. Partner dan juga proxy.
Police also seized 299 bank accounts totaling 123 million ringgit, 12 luxury vehicles, a high-end wristwatch, cash, 5 mobile phones, a computer, and various documents believed to be linked to illegal proceeds from the fraudulent investment scheme. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussain previously said the individuals were identified following further investigations into 8 people, including 4 with the title Dato, who were arrested during the first Ops Northern Star on March 20th. He said new evidence enabled authorities to identify other suspects allegedly involved in the Ponzi scheme. Meanwhile, police believe that the scheme defrauded more than 11 million victims over the past 8 years. The majority of the victims were from a neighboring country. Only 6 police reports were lodged so far. However, all of the victims have retracted their reports.
Daripada yang kita terima, yang kita siasat, based on rate notice yang daripada Interpol, kita ada 11 juta orang yang tertipu di negara jiran.
He advised the public to be wary of suspicious investment schemes. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, has reopened investigations into the large-scale encroachment of forest reserves in Raub, Pahang. Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki said the decision was made following new revelations that have sparked public concern. According to Azam, the investigation, led by the Commission's Pahang branch, will focus on 2 key aspects, namely corruption and governance.
Kita juga melihat 2 perkara. Satu, isu-isu rasuah, bagaimana penolakan haram itu boleh dilakukan dalam tempoh-tempoh yang tertentu. Yang kedua, isu berhubungan tata kelola yang diamalkan di pejabat-pejabat tanah dan juga pejabat tanah galian.
Azam added that the current probe is a continuation of efforts that began in 2021. The issue of illegal land clearing in Raub has resurfaced following media reports and complaints by local residents who have alleged that illegal logging and land encroachment are taking place on government-owned land and forest reserves. On Monday, an anti-corruption NGO claimed that systematic negligence and failure to uphold responsibilities among the authorities may have contributed to the widespread forest encroachment in Pahang. Meanwhile, the MACC will once again summon former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob to record his statement this Thursday.
Jadi Datuk Ismail Sabri dipanggil semula ke SPRM untuk meneruskan rakaman percakapan beliau, dan seperti mana pernah saya sebutkan dulu, kali ini adalah bersekitar berhubung dengan pengisytiharan harta yang telah dibuat oleh beliau.
Earlier on March 3rd, Azam revealed that Ismail Sabri was a suspect in an ongoing investigation involving corruption and money laundering. This follows the MACC seizure of cash and gold bars worth an estimated 170 million ringgit from a so-called safe house. In another development, the Chief Commissioner also confirmed that the investigation papers concerning the corruption and money laundering case involving a financial consultancy firm and several officers from financial institutions under OPSCI will be submitted to the Deputy Public Prosecutor next week. In a separate development, the MACC has detained 2 women believed to be members of a baby trafficking and birth certificate forging syndicate. Preliminary investigations revealed the suspects were allegedly involved in the scheme in 2023, accepting bribes amounting to about 10,000 ringgit. A 5-day remand order was issued earlier on Tuesday by Magistrate Muhammad Reza Ashar Rezali at the Shah Alam Magistrates Court. Both women in their 40s were arrested around 1 p.m. on Monday when they appeared at the Selangor MACC office to give their statements. According to sources, the bribe was deposited into a bank account belonging to one of the suspects who acted as an agent. The second suspect, who works at a private hospital in Malacca, is believed to have impersonated a National Registration Department officer. She allegedly helped obtain birth certificates using false information to validate the births of babies handled by the agent, despite the fact that no records of those births existed at the hospital. Selangor MACC Director Hairuza Mohd Amin, alias Hamim, confirmed that the case is being investigated under Section 17 of the MACC Act. He also did not rule out the possibility of further arrests as investigations continue. Meanwhile, 14 individuals are expected to be charged at the Kuala Lumpur Magistrates Court on Wednesday for offences related to the falsification of birth certificate information. The Election Commission, EC, is expecting more than 70% of voters to cast their ballots in the Air Kuning by-election on April 26. EC Chairman Datuk Seri Ramlan Harun said the projection is based on voting trends observed in previous by-elections.
Sebagaimana kita maklum, cuaca tak menentu akhir-akhir ini. Jadi saya minta semua pengundi dapat keluar awal bagi memastikan semua dapat menjalankan tanggungjawab dengan teratur.
Ramlan also said the EC had received 27 reports of election-related offences during the campaign period so far, with 4 of them being police reports. He said this to the media on the sidelines of the early voting process for the by-election on Tuesday, which went smoothly. The Perak State by-election was held following the death of Barisan Nasional Assemblyman Isham Shahrudin from a heart attack on February 22nd. Bumiputera companies in the timber industry are being urged to step up their efforts to penetrate the export market. Plantation and Commodities Minister Datuk Seri Johari Abdul Ghani said Bumiputera participation in timber exports remains low, with only 20 companies successfully exporting their products as of November last year. To boost Bumiputera involvement, the minister wants the Malaysian Timber Industry Board and its wholly owned subsidiary, CTCS Worldwide, to take a more aggressive approach.
Ialah bagaimana pada masa akan datang, kita kenal pasti syarikat-syarikat Bumiputera yang berwibawa. Letak dia dalam kategori A, B dan C, yang mempunyai kapasiti untuk mengekspor produk-produk kayu kita ataupun furniture, komponen kayu, dan berjumpa dengan syarikat-syarikat bukan Bumiputera, kerana mereka ini adalah syarikat-syarikat yang berjaya dan merupakan kita punya flagship untuk pergi ekspor.
He said this at CTCS Worldwide's Hari Raya Open House and the official opening of its new office. Johari also suggested that Bumiputera firms could integrate into the timber supply chain by supplying components to non-Bumiputera companies already active in the export sector. Last year, Malaysia recorded timber exports worth nearly 23 billion ringgit. Bumiputera companies, however, contributed less than 1% of that total, amounting to about 44 million ringgit. The US Commerce Department has announced plans to impose tariffs of up to 3,521% on imports of solar panels from 4 Southeast Asian countries. The proposed levies targeting companies in Cambodia, Thailand, Malaysia and Vietnam are in response to allegations of subsidies from China and the dumping of unfairly cheap products in the US market. The countervailing and anti-dumping duties, however, vary between companies and the countries their products are made in. Some solar equipment exporters in Cambodia face the highest duties of 3,521% because of what was seen as a lack of cooperation with the Commerce Department investigation. Products made in Malaysia by Chinese manufacturer Jinko Solar face some of the lowest duties of just over 41%. Meanwhile, another China-based firm faces tariffs of 375% for the products it makes in Thailand. Five men arrested after Songkran brawl. This and more after this breather.
Macam nak tengok video penuh, saksikan video muzik Raya Pop-Pop ditonton. Pop-Pop! Hai Pop!
Kalau kita sama-sama, tak ada siapa berani hadap kita. Aku, Gas. Haris suruh aku apa?
Kita nak pop, pop, pop. Meriah satu kampung pop, pop, pop. Kita kasih Rio sampai besok. Kasih pop, pop. Raya pop, pop, pop.
Gejala rempit dan lumba haram kian membara dalam kalangan anak muda. Di manakah kesudahannya?
Bersama raikan bulan April sebagai bulan kesedaran penyakit Parkinson.
Musim haji bakal tiba. Waspada dengan janji manis visa mujamalah.
Kepada lepasan SPM, rancang hala tuju sebaik mungkin selepas terima keputusan.
Beli dulu, bayar kemudian. Adakah ianya peluang atau perangkap? Saksikan kupasannya dalam Soal Wang.
Isnin hingga Jumaat 10 pagi.
Eksklusif ditonton dan di TV3.
Dia mendapat ajaran ini ketika dia berada di dalam penjara di Singapura.
Tok Guru ini memperjelaskan bahawa mereka ni tak ada masalah pun untuk berpelukkan di antara lelaki dan perempuan.
Tertuduh menganggap dirinya sudah mencapai darjat tinggi sehingga tidak lagi perlu beribadat.
Siapa Tok Guru ni? Takkan sampai level Tuhan sampai boleh cabut nyawa orang.
8 individuals, including a woman, have been arrested in connection with the alleged assault of a 21-year-old man in Masai, Johor. Sri Alam Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Muhammad Sohaimi Ishak said the incident took place at a flat in Pelentong Baru at approximately 9:30 p.m. last Friday. In a statement on Tuesday, Sohaimi said the victim lodged a report last Sunday following the incident. All 8 suspects, aged between 19 and 26, were subsequently detained in a raid at 2:30 a.m. the following day. 5 of the suspects have prior criminal records and 4 tested positive for drugs. Based on investigations, the victim went to the flat on April 18th after receiving an invitation from the woman whom he had befriended through a social media app. However, upon arrival, he was allegedly confined and viciously assaulted by the suspects inside the unit. The victim sustained a cut to his lip, a wound on his left ear, and bruises all over his body. All suspects have been remanded for 6 days until Saturday. They are being investigated under the Penal Code for wrongful confinement, causing hurt with dangerous weapons or means, and extortion. Authorities are also probing the suspects under the Dangerous Drugs Act for self-administration of dangerous drugs. Previously, several video clips went viral on social media showing a young man being assaulted by a group, including being repeatedly punched and kicked in the groin. In Selangor, 5 men were arrested in connection with a fight that broke out during a Songkran festival event held at a shopping mall in Bandar Utama, Petaling Jaya. District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Sharul Nizam Jaafar confirmed the arrest when contacted on Tuesday. A video of the incident, which has since gone viral, shows several men exchanging blows and throwing chairs during the event, which took place at the mall's parking lot. The incident is believed to have stemmed from a dispute that occurred while participants were rushing to fill their water guns during the festival. The suspects, in their late 20s and 30s, were arrested at several locations around Damansara after midnight.
Diorang dibekalkan dengan pistol air untuk pesta ni kan. Pemain air, grup yang ini telah memotong barisan kepada grup yang sedia ada menunggu untuk pengisian air pada pistol air mereka tu. Jadi grup yang ni dia lepas tu berlakulah benda-benda yang macam tak puas hati, timbul mengacah apa semua marah macam tu. Jadi terus bergaduh.
Checks revealed that some of the suspects have prior criminal records. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code for rioting with weapons. Pope Francis's funeral to be held on Saturday. The details when Nightline returns.
Kita nak pop, 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 meriah satu kampung pop, pop, pop. Kita kasih Rio sampai besok. Kasih pop, pop, raya pop, pop, pop.
Kalau kita sama-sama, tak ada siapa berani hadap kita. Aku, Gas. Habis suruh aku apa?
Selamat Hari Raya. Kita nak pop, 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 meriah satu kampung pop, pop, pop. Kita kasih Rio sampai besok. Kasih pop, pop, raya pop, pop.
Macam nak tengok video penuh? Saksikan video muzik Raya Pop Pop ditonton. Pop pop. Hai pop.
Wanita hari ini.
Dia buat salah, dia pura-pura jadi mangsa.
Play victim penyakit ataupun lari daripada masalah.
Aneka menu mi kami bawakan pada hari Selasa.
Ada mi rebus, mi bandung, mi kicap, macam-macam lah.
Bila emosi, kadang-kadang kita terlebih kongsi.
Jangan biarkan ia menguasai diri.
Bila suami culas, tanggungjawab.
Apa pula hak isteri dan juga anak-anak?
Bila pasangan baran.
Alamak, ini yang kita tak nak. Ubah sikap sebelum terlambat.
Semuanya menarik di WHI TV3.
Dan stream sekarang ditonton.
Wanita hari ini.
Sekarang kan tengah musim hujan dan banjir. Jika anda tidak mampu menyelamatkan masa banjir, carilah bantuan daripada pihak yang pakar dalam kerja menyelamat. Jangan bahayakan diri anda. Fikir sebelum bertindak. Anda mampu menyelamatkan nyawa.
The Vatican on Tuesday confirmed that Pope Francis's funeral will be held on Saturday at 10 a.m. local time in St. Peter's Basilica, which will mark the start of the first of 9 days of mourning. Pope Francis, at 88, passed following a stroke that led to a coma and irreversible heart failure. Following the death, the Catholic Church will now begin a process to select its new leader. There is currently no set day for the conclave to begin, as cardinals were meeting on Tuesday to discuss a time frame. However, the process of electing a new pope usually begins between 15 and 20 days after the pontiff's death. Mediators in the Israel-Hamas war on Tuesday have now proposed a new ceasefire plan to end the war in Gaza. The new plan proposed by Qatari and Egyptian mediators envisages a truce lasting between 5 and 7 years, the release of all Israeli hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners, a formal end to the war, and a complete Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. A senior Hamas delegation is now due to arrive in Cairo for further consultations, while Israel has yet to comment on the mediators' plan. Harvard has sued U.S. President Donald Trump's administration in a fight between the prestigious university and the Republican who has threatened a funding freeze and sought to impose outside political supervision. The lawsuit called for the freezing of funds and conditions imposed on federal grants to be declared unlawful, as well as for the Trump administration to pay Harvard's legal costs. The Ivy League said the case involves the government's efforts to use the withholding of federal funding as leverage to gain control of academic decision-making at Harvard, and also named several other institutions targeted by Trump. Switching to sports, football, the Saudi Pro League. Al Ittihad moved 6 points clear at the top of the standings after coming from behind to beat Al Ittifaq 3-2 as title rivals Al Hilal were held to a draw by Al Shabab on Monday. Al Ittifaq took the lead after just 5 minutes when Vitinho had a powerful shot deflected into the net. The hosts equalized 6 minutes later when a low cross from Karim Benzema found Danilo Pereira, who slotted it home from close range. Benzema himself put the leaders ahead 10 minutes before half-time when he calmly struck the ball past Al Ittifaq keeper Marek Rodak before Hussein Awar made it 3-1 just before the interval after a low cross from Musa Diaby. The game became nervy in the closing minutes as Al Ittifaq pulled one back after an own goal from Pereira 7 minutes before full time, but Al Ittihad managed to hold firm and secure the 3-2 victory. On to tennis, the 2025 Stuttgart Open in Germany. Jelena Ostapenko crushed world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka to win the clay court title in stunning fashion on Monday. The unseeded Latvian completed her first run to the winner's circle since February 2024 when she took down Sabalenka 6-4, 6-1 in the final. With the upset, Ostapenko improved to 3-1 in her career against number 1 ranked players. The victory marks Ostapenko's first title on clay since her 2017 French Open Grand Slam victory, while Sabalenka has now lost 4 finals on Stuttgart's clay after losing the showcase match in 2021 to 2023. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look as thousands of kites soar across the sky of China's Xinjiang during the Urumqi Kite Carnival. With that, I'm Natasha. Busst. Thank you for watching and stay safe.